Have you ever wondered why you may be pooing so much whilst on your period? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Ragushia, naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. In this episode today, you're going to learn why your poo may change during your period. We're going to go through your poo and your period so you understand it a bit better. Then we're going to talk about diarrhea and your period. And at the end, I'm going to give you 3 tips to manage your period poo. At the end of this episode, I'm also going to give you an opportunity to join our health and success oriented community by clicking below and joining a Natural Health newsletter. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Mondays with Mihaela. That's right, me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate and absolutely love your support. On Mondays, I'm here to provide you simple, savvy, and sustainable health hacks to optimize your health. And today, for all my women out there, we're going to be talking about your period and your poo. I know it's probably not the most exciting topic to talk about, but it's, when I hear a lot of people say to me, Mihaela, when I'm on my period, I poop like crazy. I do not leave the toilet. And they think they're the only ones. But I'm here to tell you that you may not be the only one if that is exactly what's happening to you. I mean, it's not the most exciting thing, yet alone you have your period and there's a lot of stuff happening down there, and then you have to go to the bathroom and there's a lot more stuff happening down there. It's not the most exciting thing to talk about, to even think about, or even to go through, right? But I'm here to tell you exactly why it's happening, if it is happening, and what you may be able to do about it. Because if you ask me, is it normal? I'm not going to say it's not normal, but I'm also not going to say it's normal. Okay, because a lot of people out there say, look, it's totally normal. You're supposed to poop more when you have your period, but there may be something going on, and that is the reason why this is happening. I mean, yes, period poop is totally a thing. That's right. You probably thought it was just you. That's probably because most people don't actually talk about their monthly period, yet alone their monthly outbursts in the toilet, right? I mean, it's nobody's business really, but here at the moment, it's just me and you, and we can talk about this stuff. I'm here to talk about it, and you're here to listen to it, right? So that's amazing. And you're probably, when you have your period, you probably have a water bottle, you're taking a Nurofen, you're cramping already as it is through your period, and you're cramping even more because maybe you even have to poo, or maybe you're even stuck in the toilet for like half an hour, 45 minutes, even hours for some people. And it's just not the most pleasant thing, especially if you're at work or if you're out. You just kind of want to be at home and deal with it then and there. But you know what? The thing is there may be something you can do about it. And there's 2 things we can blame for it. But let's go into it, right? Let's talk about period diarrhea. I never thought I would actually say that and get actually excited about talking about period diarrhea. I mean, who would have thought I'd be sitting here talking about period diarrhea, and you're going to be interested. You're going to click on this episode and listen to me talk about period diarrhea. But you're listening because it's probably happened to you, and you're wondering why. Do you have period diarrhea, or have you ever experienced it? I know myself, I have, right? I have experienced it, and it's probably not the most pleasant thing because you're cramping maybe because of your periods, and you're cramping because of diarrhea. You're probably thinking, what did I eat last night? But it may not be the food. It may actually be something else. There's a chemical culprit, and it's called prostaglandin, right? Period diarrhea is a sign that you may have too many prostaglandins. What are prostaglandins, right? As soon as someone says prostaglandins, the first thing that should pop into your mind is inflammation, right? Prostaglandins play a key role in the generation of inflammatory response. So what happens is actually, after ovulation, the walls of your uterus get packed with prostaglandins, okay? When this tissue breaks down, you start menstruating, right? That's our period. The prostaglandins are released and send a message to the smooth muscle tissue in the uterus. This message says, squeeze, squeeze, damn you. And excessive prostaglandins are the cause of cramps, right? That's interesting. So what did I just say there? There's other things too, but part of excessive prostaglandins are the cause of cramps. Yes, so most people that have that diarrhea also have cramps, okay? And then if the prostaglandins leak into your bloodstream, they send that squeeze, the same squeeze message, to every piece of soft muscle tissue they can find. So then your colon thinks it's a uterus and goes into overdrive, squeezing and creating diarrhea. So do you see the link there? Prostaglandins can cause the cramps, prostaglandins can cause diarrhea. So when people take non-inflammatory steroids, non-steroid inflammatory, so like Nurofen and things like that, when they take it, it doesn't only help their cramps, but it also helps with the diarrhea. I'm not saying to take them, right? I'm not saying to take them, but I'm just saying how the biochemistry works, okay? But I'm also not saying to take them. I'm not saying not to take them. That's a personal choice that you have right there after knowing the effects it has on you. I'm all for choice, right? But what I'm trying to say here is these prostaglandins create those cramps. These prostaglandins create that diarrhea. So prostaglandins cause the unitary muscle contractions, which is menstrual cramps, which is a necessary part of your, which is a part of your period, right? But they also affect the bowels. It's kind of the worst to be having severe cramps plus diarrhea, but it's kind of like the same culprit is causing them to, right? Which is interesting, which is so interesting. They essentially are hormone-like molecules that are made from fats. They perform many roles within our body, including causing you to poop more. Prostaglandins stimulate the muscles of the digestive tract to contract and release, which is why your period can cause changes in your bowels. And if you listen to this, it's probably diarrhea. The more prostaglandins you have, the more likely you are to have what some people refer to as period diarrhea. So the results of too many prostaglandins is loose stool and painful menstrual cramps. Who really wants that? No one really wants to, get alone have menstrual cramps and then have diarrhea that comes with it. I mean, thank you very much, whoever's created this thing called a period, right? It's like you get stuck with the period and you get stuck with the poo. It's like, oh my gosh, it's just everything all at once, right? At least we're releasing it all. So you have together diarrhea, cramps, and period cramps. Probably not the most exciting thing, and you can understand why women would be dreading sometimes the time of the month, or why women would be not looking forward to it, or why they just want to stay in bed. And you know what? There's all these people, saying that some women should get period leave once a month. I think that's an absolutely great idea. Not even for the fact of having diarrhea or bleeding or whatever. It's just the fact that that day, the first day especially, you should be resting, you should be with yourself, you should be allowing your body to do what it does and not overexerting it, because it's going through so much stress when you have your menstrual cycle. We forget and we underestimate the stress that our body goes through for women when we have our menstrual cycle. Absolutely crazy. So urinary and bowel contractions are caused by prostaglandins, making it hard to tell the difference sometimes between the two. It's kind of like, are you having cramps because you have to go to the toilet, or are you having cramps because you have your period? So essentially, I hope that now you kind of understand that period poo is totally a thing. It's not just you, it's totally a thing. And there's so many other things that are causing it. One of the main things is prostaglandins are causing it, right? When we look at prostaglandins, they're an inflammatory response, and they rise also when we cause inflammation, unnecessary inflammation in our body. Unnecessary inflammation such as, what happens before we get our period? Most individuals crave JUNK, junk, hot chips and so forth, filled with omega-6 inflammatory foods, right? So you're going to understand now what I'm going to talk about. 3 ways to manage your poo, because that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. What are you eating, right? Because it may be creating that. But let's go into 3 ways to manage your period poo. I know, exciting stuff I'm talking about right here, right now. I mean, if you're not listening to this, then I don't know what else you're doing, because this is the episode to listen to. All right. So number 1 is kind of sympathetic relief to manage period, diarrhea, poo is avoid laxatives, right? You may be taking laxatives that you don't even know about, such as coffee, right? Which make things worse because you are already having diarrhea. Do you want to take laxatives which make it even worse? Probably not, right? I would highly not recommend them. Number 2 is having a balanced diet, reducing the junk food on your period, before your period, after your period, because this junk food is just going to raise the inflammatory response in your body, making your cramps worse, making your poo worse, and so forth, right? The other one is managing your gut health. What's your gut health like? Have you actually tested your gut health? Are you taking probiotics? Are you taking prebiotics? Are you managing your gut? Are you healing your gut? Are there any gut health issues? And so many more. If you have chronic diarrhea, make sure your electrolyte balance is on point, because if you're having a lot of diarrhea, your electrolytes need to be balanced, right? Absolutely need to be balanced. So yeah, avoid laxatives, balance your diet, right? And look after your gut health and make sure your electrolytes are balanced. I gave you more than 3, I gave you 4 right here because I don't want you having period diarrhea. But look, if you do have period diarrhea and you do a few things and it doesn't help, talk to a healthcare professional, get in touch with them. They know so much stuff. Get in touch with me if you want. Happy to assist in any way I can. So many things that can be done for this. Balancing your hormones and so forth, figuring out what's happening. But there you go, a little episode for you to know that period diarrhea in some instance is totally normal, and there are so many things that you can do about it. If you know someone who will benefit from this episode, please feel free to share this episode with them. And if you want to join a health and success oriented community, click below and join the Natural Health newsletter. Every Friday, bonuses, specials sent straight into your inbox, right for you, just for you, because you are VIP, baby. Sent straight into your inbox. Do what you do best. Love, like, share the Natural Health podcast. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. Content and information provided here is opinion of Mahela Raguse and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. Under no circumstances shall the Natural Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting your doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in the educational content.